Hello and welcome to the first episode of Top 10 Songs. Like I did for my first worst to best video, I decided to cover Genesis for the first episode. If you watch the aforementioned worst to best video, it probably won't surprise you that my list unintentionally consists of only 70s songs. As much as I did want to throw in some 80s material, I knew that if I did, my list wouldn't truly be my top 10 favorites. It's also important to mention that these are my favorite songs. Therefore, my list is completely subjective. I will also include my honorable mentions at the end of the video. With that being said, let's dive right into my 10th favorite Genesis song. My 10th favorite Genesis song is Back in New York City. It opens the second side of The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, and this is easily one of the heaviest Genesis songs and contains one of Peter Gabriel's most intense and aggressive vocal performances ever recorded. The main song is in a 7/8 time signature, which is interesting. Phil Collins' drumming is unique as he helps build the song and utilizes his whole kit in the process. It is such a powerful song. Okay, that's my number 10. My number 9 is Entangled. Entangled is an acoustic piece on A Trick of the Tail, the album that followed The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. The lush interwoven, however you want to say, 12-string acoustic guitars gives the song a classic Genesis flavor. Phil Collins' vocals are soft and beautiful. I believe Steve Hackett wrote this piece with Tony Banks, and it's one of my favorite Genesis songs that Steve Hackett contributed to in terms of the writing in a major way. The last 2 minutes are haunting and one of the best Genesis moments. The mellotron and theremin sounding instrument combined with the bass synths and acoustic guitars makes for a beautiful coda. Whenever I listen to this part, I think of a desolate landscape, and Genesis are masters at creating an atmosphere and creating images in your mind through just the music alone. Okay, the next song, my number 8 song, eighth favorite song. Okay, my 8th favorite Genesis song is Blood on the Rooftops. It's another piece that Steve Hackett had a major writing contribution to, or made a major writing contribution to, but this time it was with Phil Collins, like they did on Nursery Crime with For Absent Friends. And the beginning of the piece features Steve Hackett on classical guitar, which is gorgeous. I love the chord progression of the song and the beautiful chorus. It's absolutely haunting. My 7th favorite song by Genesis is Ripples, and it's my favorite song on A Trick of the Tail. It's similar to Entangled with the acoustic guitar intro, but the song culminates into a beautiful chorus that is even grander than Entangled, in my opinion. Okay, my number, I believe it's, My number 6 favorite Genesis song, is Carpet Crawlers, and it's my favorite song on The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. The melodies, instrumentation, and chord progression, when combined, makes me very emotional when listening to this. The main refrain of the song, "You Gotta Get In to Get Out," makes me think of conception. Lines such as "the red ochre corridor" reinforce that notion, as that could allude to fallopian tubes. Peter Gabriel's vocal performance on this track is one of his best, in my opinion. A simple yet incredibly powerful song. Okay, my number 5, we're in the top 5. My 5th favorite Genesis song. I am cheating a little bit with this by combining what is technically 3 tracks into one, but they all bleed into each other in the context of the album. I decided to include in the number 5 spot Unquiet Slumbers for the Sleepers, In That Quiet Earth, and Afterglow. The final 3 tracks on Wind and Wuthering act as the climax of the album, and it reminds me of the template for the last couple sections of Supper's Ready. The first part is atmospheric and provides a grandiose intro to the piece. In That Quiet Earth is the epic instrumental section of the album, and it's one of Genesis's best jams. It sounds like what Steve Hackett was doing on his first couple solo albums, such as Voyage of the Acolyte or Please Don't Touch. This section also contains one of the heaviest Genesis moments towards the end, and I can't help but headbang during that part. This leads into the heart-wrenchingly beautiful Afterglow, which closes the album perfectly. And then I'm also cheating a little bit with my number 4, my fourth favorite Genesis song, which is The Cinema Show and Isle of Plenty. But it's for the same reason. I mean, these last two tracks on Selling England by the Pound bleed into each other, The Cinema Show and Isle of Plenty. So it only makes sense to combine them as one. The Cinema Show is a song of two halves, the first being a mostly acoustic piece, which is absolutely beautiful. The second half is one of the best Genesis instrumentals, and it's all in 7/8 time. Tony Banks is one of my favorite keyboardists, and I prefer him over Rick Wakeman and Keith Emerson because he's more melodic, especially when it comes to soloing, and the second half of The Cinema Show demonstrates that. He throws one great idea after another, and it's almost overwhelming, but in the best way possible. And then Phil Collins and Mike Rutherford lay down a strong rhythmic foundation. And then Isle of Plenty reprises the Dancing with the Moonlit Knight theme from the beginning of the album, creating a cohesive whole. Okay, my number 3, we're in the top 3. Firth of Fifth is my favorite song on Selling England by the Pound and is my third favorite Genesis song. There are so many great moments that the band managed to contain within its 9.5-minute duration. The Tony Banks piano intro is iconic, and then the music explodes as the whole band enters with grandiosity. I love when the intro is reprised later with a synth and the rest of the band jamming out beneath it. This, of course, leads into the iconic Steve Hackett guitar solo, which is probably his best solo ever recorded. It's very emotional and very heartfelt. Okay, my second favorite Genesis song is The Musical Box. The Musical Box is the opener to Nursery Crime and one of my favorite songs of all time. The song ebbs and flows from pastoral acoustic sections to heavy rock sections, and it all works incredibly well. The song culminates into the majestic ending section, which never fails to make me emotional. And finally, my absolute favorite Genesis song of all time is Supper's Ready. I mean, it's not much of a surprise considering the fact that I'm a huge Peter Gabriel era fan. As much as I would love to analyze and talk about this song in depth, Supper's Ready has been talked about ad nauseum on the internet. All I can say is that it's in my top 3 songs of all time, and it perfectly captures everything that makes Genesis and 70s progressive rock as a whole great. Definitely check it out if you haven't already, as well as all the other songs I have mentioned. Thank you for watching. Let me know what your top 10 Genesis songs are in the comments below. If you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would appreciate that, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you. Take care.